Hey everybody, it's Mike over at Growtopia and I got another video for you. And this is a push towards don't trim your tomato plants. I'm seeing a lot of people online that are making these little AI videos that tell you to lob off your whole tomato plant because you're going to get a better harvest. Now you guys have been seeing video after video after video of my tomato harvest. Well, today is Saturday, October 19th of 2024. I just went outside quick to go get a harvest of tomatoes. We're going to count that right now in front of you. But the first thing I'm going to show you is my pumpkin tomato. Look at this guy. I call it my pumpkin tomato. Now, why I call it a pumpkin tomato is because it looks like a pumpkin tomato. But if you look at the bottom, if you see this on a tomato and your tomato is kind of looking like two tomatoes in one, well, it is. So basically they call this a cat eye tomato because apparently it looks like a cat eye. And when you kind of look at it this way, it kind of makes more sense because it's got the shape and stuff. It's basically, it's almost like a disease or a deformity is what it is. And it's basically, for some reason, there was two flowers that were really, really close to each other. And they merged into one enormous tomato. And these are just supposed to be just regular tomatoes, which is really cool. If you want to get a scale on it, I got a scale today that I'm using, so it comes up as 0.0 pounds. I know this is like the worst scale. This is for weighing people, but yeah, so there's no weight on it. Not enough weight. I failed. It's alright. Probably if I use a different type of scale, but yeah, this is pretty cool. I call it my pumpkin tomato. So alright, so let's get to today's harvest. Let's grab my tray. So yeah, stop trimming, stop touching your tomatoes. Leave your tomatoes alone. Once you put them in the ground, that's it. You don't have to touch them, you don't have to prune them, you don't have to do anything. Even like now, I have a lot of like tomatoes that have like some branches are kind of dead on them, and there's still tomatoes attached to them. I still leave them as is. I'm not worried about anything with them. The only thing is I watch the tomato branch and the tomatoes that are on it. And if the branch is dead and there's tomatoes on it, but the tomatoes don't look like they're growing, take those tomatoes off, bring them indoors. If you find that you can't eat those tomatoes, you harvest the seeds from them. If you don't feel like harvesting the seeds from them, throw it in your compost. Or do what I've done already, is you could take the tomato, chop it up, and then throw it back in your garden. Those seeds will then go into the ground, and they'll stay dormant, and then next season you'll have a tomato plant that's already coming up before your tomato plants that you want to start ahead of time. So let's get to today's harvest. So we're going to start them off. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, big guy, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. So 26 are the red tomatoes. 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32. These are the yellow plums. 33, 34, 35, 36, 37. So we got 38 tomatoes. We grabbed 1 cucumber that's out there, and we grabbed some garden beans. Oh, they're out there in the garden. And apparently wood chip. So this is just today's harvest alone. And you can literally get all this, and it's October 19th. We're in the 50s all week long, and I still got big red tomatoes that are growing. I even got big yellow plum tomatoes that are growing. I see so much places that are saying you cut all your plants back. Your determinate and your indeterminate. Determinate, you definitely don't want to touch. Determinate, they only grow to a certain size. But you got to realize, once your plant starts growing, if you start lobbing off pieces, it's going to take time for that plant to now heal and then go back to where it was when you cut it. So the best thing to do is don't cut the plant, put it in the ground, bury it at a good depth, And the way you want to bury a tomato, right? Because I think I've gone over this, but I'll do it again. So let's say this is my tomato plant, right? So this top section is where my leaves are. So I have it growing in a pod, okay? And it's sitting out of the pod like this. I'm trying to get it to stay in my hand. So it's sitting out of the pod at the top of my fingertips, right? So the top of my fingertips is the soil, top of here is the leaves. When I go to bury this in the ground, I bury it all the way down just where the leaves have enough room above the soil. Yes. So what that does is that the whole bottom of that tomato plant actually has roots that'll come out of the stem, and it makes it a lot more sturdier in the ground, and it grows a hell of a lot better, because I got tomato plants out there that are 9 feet freaking tall, and they still have little green tomatoes. They're still producing, and I'm watering them Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and I have them running for an hour and a half through my sprinkler system, and I'm still pushing out these big gorgeous tomatoes. Even this big monster over here, even though in some eyes it's a deformity, in my eyes it's freaking pure amazing science. It's amazing how nature finds a way. So anyway guys, don't trim your plants. You can get this harvest constantly, trust me. This is off of probably 18 tomato plants that I have that's growing out there. I got only 2 yellow plum tomato plants, and I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So I got 12 yellow plum tomatoes off of 2 yellow plum tomato plants. And most of these other ones are just regular big tomatoes that I got from the supermarket. I call these the non-knowing tomatoes because I bought them from the supermarket. I kept the seeds, and then I threw them into soil in the beginning of the year, and they took off, and now I have that. But I still got other stuff out there. I got my black crims, I got my Cherokee purples that are still growing. They got new life on them and stuff, or not new life, but they got new little green tomatoes that are starting. So then I'll be bringing in some of my colored tomatoes, which would be great. So don't trim them, put them in the ground. If it comes down to when you want to figure out how to fertilize them, I fertilize them only through my homemade stuff. I've tried other people's fertilizers. It does exactly the same. It might have a little bit more nutrients in it. Like, I'm not downing anybody. I would say probably a mix between your stuff and JP's secret stuff from the growing channel. What I like about his stuff here is it's got 3% nitrogen, it's got 3% phosphate, 3% soluble potassium, 5% calcium, 1% magnesium, 1% sulfur, and 0.3% iron. Derived from, this all came from fish bone meal, alfalfa meal, feather meal, lagobryte, basalt, potassium sulfate, dolomite, kelp meal, and volcano ash deposit. So it's a lot of good stuff on there. It has instructions on how you use it. I use that as a mix. So when I'm taking my tomato plants and I'm putting them outside, I'm not putting that into the ground unless I need to. So when I redo my soil this year, I'm going to take a little bit of JP's, and I'm talking about small. I'm going to sprinkle it on the soil on the beds, put my compost down, put my fresh soil and my cow manure that I just picked up. Smells so wonderful. Hence the reason why in the last video I talked about things that smell in your house. It's in the garage currently, sealed, but nice and fresh. Right from the horse's ass, cow's ass. I know I had one of those dials when I was a kid, like the cow goes moo, the chicken goes bah. The president goes blah, 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 blah. What's my name? I'm kidding. I'm not. But I'm not. So when I first take them outside, and I get them in the ground, I take my eggshell powder, and I sprinkle a little bit of eggshell powder on it, and I water it in when they're fresh into the ground. It gives them the calcium that's in there, keeps them like nice, and gives them like nice strength and stuff. At least from what I've noticed. Obviously, I got the strings, I got the clips. And then once they flower, so once you get the first flowering, that's when I'll come back and I'll top dress it with JP's. And what I'll do is I'll remove the soil away from the stems, and I take a small pinch and I sprinkle around it. I mix it in the soil with my fingers, push the soil back up, and that's it. And I make sure also that I have my wood chips on top, so that when I water it or it rains, the soil below the wood chip stays nice and moist, and you got nothing really to worry about. Yes, you could theoretically do that with your plants inside that you're trying to grow, but then you're gonna have the wood chips, and that's a whole other mess. So it's not a mess with the wood chips. It's just depending on what you have them in. Anyway, guys, that's it for today's video. It's Mike over here at Growtopia. Like, subscribe, share it with your friends and family. Don't touch your tomato plants. Don't cut them. Don't trim them. Don't do anything nutty to them. Just run them up strings is the best way to do them. If you can't do anything with strings, try your best, I would say, but the strings is the best way to go. I see a lot of people, they're using those little tomato cages. I don't like those because the tomato needs to breathe, and it needs to stretch, and it needs to grow, and that cage just makes it hard to get in there if you want to try to get tomatoes out. You get more diseases that way because it stays really moist on the leaves and nothing really gets a chance to dry out, because these things don't need to be sitting in a puddle of water. They need, to be able to drink and then less water so that they grow and they stretch, and their roots will spread as they're looking for more water, and then they find it and then they whoosh as well. So anyway, guys, that's it for today's video. Like, subscribe, share it with your friends and family, and we'll see what comes with our next video. I got some other stuff I'm going to film next. I'm going to be filming my current status of my peppers that I didn't chop up like everybody says to, that I have currently still growing inside. I got some other stuff that just started growing that's in the back that I'm excited about. I got some other stuff. I got transplants I got to do. So I got a lot of different videos coming today. So you guys stay tuned. Like, subscribe, hit that like button, and definitely share it with your friends and family, and keep watching, keep growing, get out there and do something. And if you have any questions, please comment below. I have no problems helping anybody or even mentioning it into the next video. Everybody have a great day.